Hi, how's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Debutify podcast, the premier e-commerce podcast brought to you by Debutify. I'm your host, Alex Bond, and joining me today is Alina Vlaic, the founder of AZ Rank, an agency that helps sellers on e-commerce platforms including Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, eBay, and Shopify successfully launch their products and crush their sales by top ranking those products. Alina is also the co-founder of PressX, which lets brand owners leverage press articles to launch and rank products on Amazon and other e-commerce platforms. On this episode, Alina and I discuss the most valuable type of press, how to grow a brand on and off Amazon, how to launch a product in 2023, and much more. Here's our interview now. Alina, welcome to the show.
Hi, very nice to be here. Thank you.
Very happy to have you. So first off, let's talk about your first company, or the company that came first among the two that we'll talk about today, and that's AZ Rank. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So I've been in this space, in the Amazon crazy jungle, but beautiful jungle, since 2017. And somewhere in 2018, due to a lot of stuff, like failure of my first brand, that sensation that you know stuff, but you actually realize that you don't know anything when you actually get to it. This is when I started this company, which came from came from something that I needed at that point. It was the good old days when ranking products and launching products on Amazon was pretty easy. Now it's not that easy anymore, but we're still here and we're trying to, adapt everything that we do to the current market and idea and trends and AI and everything that is happening in the space with so much speed. And so what do? We basically help Amazon sellers launch products on Amazon and off Amazon too. We work with a lot of marketplaces. We also work with European marketplaces from Amazon. Launching and ranking products in different ways that it was back in the day. All kind of strategies. It's custom strategies based on every seller's needs and every brand's need. That's in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yeah. And you mentioned something that I find entrepreneurs are kind of the extremely best at, almost in the world or in history to my aspect. And that's failing and totally holding themselves accountable to it and being able to bounce back from it. I think it's really something impressive about people in this field. I'd like to ask about that. Yeah, please. You've mentioned that you've had great success because of this first brand that didn't work so well. So why don't you dive into that a little bit for us?
Sure. So I'm currently based in Europe, in Romania. I've been here ever since. My husband and I, which we're in this together, we own a business here for a long time. So when we started the Amazon, we were in the online, we still are in the online space here, but we weren't on Amazon. So back in 2017, when we discovered this, since we're in Europe, let's start looking into Amazon Europe, right? Because it's closer. We can handle the shipments and everything easier. So that's what we did. And since we have this business here the business was with physical products, toys and articles for children, especially. We took some of those products, which were under a brand, which wasn't on Amazon. So the brand existed, but wasn't on Amazon. And we got the acceptance of the brand to sell those products on Amazon. And we did pretty well, 1.5 years. And in 2018, we said, okay, now we know enough. Now we're very good at Amazon. Now we can start a private label in US on the Amazon.com, because that's where we wanted to actually get. But we started with the European as a learning process. And then doing a private label was in the baby category, because I just recently had my baby daughter. So I'm a new mom again. So I know everything about baby category. Let's do a brand in baby, which completely and totally and abruptly was very big of a fail. But in terms of numbers, in terms of the product being wrongfully chosen, in terms of market being not wrongfully, but, not enough knowledge, not enough experience to know what Amazon really means. So that's what happened. And at that point, we realized that this is something serious. Amazon is it's not easy. You cannot get rich overnight. You cannot drive your Lamborghini and sip cocktails from the beach in front of your laptop after 2 years, like a lot of gurus in the space were saying, right? So we realized this needs a lot of work. This needs a lot of study, basically. That was the work that we could do, research and all that. So what I can say 100% sure is that if it weren't for this to happen, for the brand, for everything, for that experience, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. I wouldn't have the agencies. I wouldn't have my two and a half brands that we currently own. They're doing very well on Amazon, Walmart, and so on. So if that wouldn't happen, that was my lesson from what I learned. Okay, this needs more. And we started doing it. And in 6 months, not six, I think it was 10 months, we started working on our second brand, which we still own to this day, and hopefully for another while. So yeah, what I can say to our listeners is that things happen, and I've seen a lot in this time that I've been in the space. I've seen multi-million-dollar businesses going down overnight from, account suspensions and whatever, you name it. I've seen not everything. Amazon is always very resourceful and full of surprises, but we've seen a lot in the space. And since we're in touch with so many sellers of so many levels, it's a very interesting world. And even if something happens, it may happen one day, you wake up one morning like I did at one point. Those campaigns when you put like discount codes and you give the code to an influencer, and then you do another one and you give another code to a different influencer. Well, I don't know what I did. At one point, my products were selling at $0. The codes tagged. And when I woke up in the morning, I said, wow, this was a crazy day. I sold like 500 units or I don't know. Whatever.
I crushed it today. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's not good. Anyways, this is just a funny example, but things like this can happen and can have, impact. Sometimes they do have a powerful impact on your business, but you have to find it in you to move forward. There's always room. That's what I like to say. If I got to this point, I'm pretty sure I can go forward, but you just need to find the right ways.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful outlook on it. And it's darkest before the dawn too. Like a lot of people have said, sometimes the worst mistake you can make is your timing. Sometimes all the pieces are in the right place. It's too early or it's too late, and that's the luck of the draw. They say, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And sometimes that opportunity doesn't really come. And so you're kind of forcing a square peg into a round hole. So I appreciate your honesty and your candor about that situation. But one of your other successful companies, that's the newer one among, AZ Rank and PressX is I'm talking about now. It's kind of like a sister company is what I would consider it, because on paper, their goals are the same, right? I mean, AMZ Rank and PressX, the goal is to increase a brand's revenue and kind of in short. But the way that they do it is what gives each company its identity a little bit. So could you elaborate on that for me? What is PressX, and if my assertion that their goals are the same is accurate or not?
Yes, pretty much it is. So in this e-com world and Amazon world, things are moving very fast, right? So in the last few years, we started hearing about things like external traffic. Back to the days, it was nothing. It was just reviews and a few good photos, and that was it years ago. Now, at one point, people started talking about external traffic. Now, 2023, it's AI and so on. Things will evolve. So a couple of years ago, we started hearing this external traffic, and there were a lot of things happening around the external traffic. What is the external traffic, right? It's traffic that comes to your Amazon store or products or listings from an external source, be it Google, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, whatever, right? Basically, what that means is that Amazon likes for you as a seller or as a brand owner to bring people to their platform, to their website from outside. So people don't necessarily go on Amazon and search for garlic press. They are searching for it on Google, or they're looking at it on Instagram or on Facebook, and they're seeing an ad, and then they're going to your Amazon garlic press listing, right? So that's the external traffic. And long story short, from this need, again, a need that the market had at that point, and not necessarily the market, like the sellers, usually, let's say, let's bring it down to the sellers. We try to do something with press, because again, there's a lot of sources that you could bring this external traffic from. Press is one of the best ones, powerful ones. And I'm talking about 2023's press, not 2000, not written press. This is online press. They have all kind of very powerful ways of getting an article or a product or something that they write about in front of a lot of people's eyes. Newsletters, SMSs, whatever, with huge audiences. Now, what we do differently and what we try to do differently than other people in the space is that if I don't get you featured in one of these publications with your brand, you don't have to pay, basically. So we're not charging like huge amounts of money as I'm missing that word, as those fees, retainers, right? I think it's called retainers, or monthly subscriptions or stuff like that. We're just, you give me your brand. I'm talking to all these publications that we have, and they're pretty much high domain authority publication, like BuzzFeed, like Bustle, like Refinery 29, Forbes, and so on. So if I'm getting you featured there, you're just going to pay for the clicks you get from that. And those clicks can get through your attribution inside Amazon. Everything can be tracked. And it's pretty much like a no play, no pay, something like that. It's pretty much the model that we wanted to create in order to help sellers bring this external traffic in a more efficient way, cost-efficient way, and also, to get that brand awareness that it's needed in the space.
No, that's great. And with your time and experience doing that, and again, that is like the newer company of the two, do you have any sort of assertions or data that suggests certain press is more valuable than others? I mean, are there certain publications or platforms or mediums that are more just better for brands than other ones are? Yeah.
Well, it's not a general thing, unfortunately, because each brand is different and each brand has their own goals. For example, talking about a brand that it's newly launched, let's say the brand exists for a while, but they're launching something new, a product that they want a lot of focus on, then we're talking about a different type of articles, and a certain type of article and some specific publications from all that we work with. And usually that's something that goes towards the brand, like an article talking about the brand and how great that brand is and blah, blah, blah. If your focus would be to get some traction, do some push on the sales, stuff like that, so like an instant movement on something, then it would be different. I cannot really give like 100% guaranteed recipes. What I can say though, outside the press thing, but still related to the external traffic and everything that's happening today, is, of course, TikTok. This would be a solution that like a strategy that I would recommend every and any brand, doesn't matter how experienced or how beginner they are, because TikTok is huge. They're investing a ton of money into everything. And being there from the beginning, because we're still in the early days, it's going to matter a lot in the future. That's something that I think it would be a nice takeaway. And of course, TikTok is general. You can do a TikTok shop. You can do TikTok influencer. Just find some influencers in their own creator hubs. There's a lot of resources there that you can work on. You can simply build an account on TikTok, a page on TikTok, and start doing some content on it. And people start seeing you.
No, I think that's totally valid. I mean, the more that Twitter gets further and further away from what it was, 4 or 5 years ago, the more that TikTok becomes that resurgent power and gets more of that just general market share. Advertisers don't really want to go on Twitter anymore. They'd rather go to something that's newer and skewing younger anyway. So now that we're talking about PressX or AZ Rank at the same time, we'll kind of go back and forth on them a little bit with some of these questions. So that way now we have kind of our foundation for the rest of the show. But I am curious from your experience, what you would consider some of the base requirements are for growing a brand on and off of Amazon. because you've done a lot of product launches at the same time. So I'm curious about kind of that side of things and growing the brand from that.
That's a hard question. So growing a brand, you're probably talking about growing it from scratch, right? So now we're building a brand, first product or first two products.
Let's say you've launched like a product or two, and then you're still trying to find that identity a little bit. Yeah.
That's very important. And I'm glad you touched that, because from one product or two, and that's something that a lot of sellers do. I'm going to start a brand, and I did it too in my previous experience. So I'm starting a brand and I'm doing one product. I'm just launching one product because let's say maybe that's everything that I can afford within my budget. That's totally different than if I were to launch a brand and launch 5 products at the same time altogether. I'm not saying to launch just one product is bad. No, it's very good. But when I launch my first product, I should already know which the other 4 are, even if I don't have the budget to launch them now. I think this is something very important and something that a lot of sellers are not paying enough attention to. Amazon can get you very fast and abruptly distracted from everything because a lot happens. So if you have this plan and if you have this budget, even if you're building it on the way, just have it in your mind. I'm going to go into that direction and I'm going to do those products, because then you can, make connections between them. Actually, as you said, build the brand's identity. If you just start with one product and then 6 months from there, I'm start thinking what my second product would be, it's going to take much more effort, much more resources, and a lot more money to get to the same point if compared to the other thing. So that would be one thing. Second, don't try to do it all yourself. That's something that I also learn on myself. A lot of us do. Oh, I'm not going to hire VAs because I have to explain them. I have to build SOPs, and it's faster if I do it myself, right? A lot of us say that all the time. I'm not going to hire an assistant because maybe I can afford it right now. So I better sleep just 5 hours a night because I still can do it myself. Where at one point, we're going to get burned out. It's important to actually realize that we, for example, myself speaking from the agency's point of view, we're there to help and, take some parts that we know very well and we're experts at, take that away from you and help you do a better job with probably less money that would cost you if you were trying to do it yourself. I think if you start with these 2 things, it's going to be way more easier. Of course, details, we have a ton, like, good listing, a good product and successful, blah, blah, blah. But that can be very, subjective as you go. But if you have this background with, don't try to do everything and have like the bigger picture of your brand in your head. And I would actually add the third one, be prepared to never stop learning in this space, in this world. There are podcasts like this one and so many others out there. There are webinars, shows, fairs, events, people, networking. It's very important.
Absolutely. No, on our last episode, I was talking with a gentleman about the necessity for small business owners and brands to be coachable, essentially, is to, that's something that I've heard in my professional career that is the best asset that an employee, I'm a freelancer currently, and so especially with a freelancer, is to remain coachable. And to always, and that's what I hear you say a little bit, Alina, is these brands need to be able to still be able to be a sponge despite any and all success. It's not all of the success.
Exactly. And I've seen this a lot. I have clients and friends and partners which do 8 figures, 9 figures year revenue on Amazon, and they're still learning and they're still going to events and they're still testing and strategizing and trying new stuff. Which part of those will be successful, part of those aren't, but they're not stopping. Okay, I know everything. I've done enough. I'm doing 8 figures or 9 figure. Now I can go to the beach. No, essentially you can basically never go to the beach without your phone or without your laptop.
Ever again,
yeah.
So, with AZ Rank, that's kind of your bread and butter, is with millions of sellers who are all trying to rank on Amazon. How do you guarantee that you can help a brand's products rank closer to the top?
We have our internal processes and analysis that we do for the brand, because as I said, everything is pretty different. We've had over 5,000 launches in all our years of being here. And I can swear I have never had identical or at least similar ranking campaigns, even for the same product. There are so many moving parts, it's so dynamic. Everything is so dynamic. So whenever we have a seller coming to us for help with this, everything happens on the spot. If you come to me today and talk to me and we arrange something for a campaign to start in a few days, and you're telling me, okay, let's wait for a little bit, I have some issues, and you're coming back in a month from now, it's a whole different story. Amazon first page of results looks different now than it's going to look a month from now. And all the data, everything is different. So we're going to need to start over again. That's why I said everything is done on the spot in a matter of days. How we can guarantee? Well, there isn't 100% guarantee on this because it's very volatile, let's say. But as Amazon is, there's not a single thing on Amazon that is 100% guaranteed. So we're trying to get as close to this 100% guarantee. But we have pretty good results on all our campaigns. I think it's almost 99% in terms of success. Now, how we measure success is if I get your keyword, your product ranked on your keywords. That's the way we measure success. I cannot measure success by how good your product is going to sell after you finish the campaign with me, because maybe you have bad photos or your PPC is not that great, or a million things, or you get hijacked or whatever from another seller. So that's how we measure success. Another thing that I would like to mention is that we're always in touch with the seller during the campaign. Everything is done manually. We have no bots, no robots, no ManyChats, no nothing. It's like real manual thing, the way it should be, in my opinion, on this side of things on Amazon. We always check and get back to you and say, hey, something's not working right. Let's try this, or this. What do you say? Stuff like that.
No, that's good. I mean, you have to be able to, especially as a business, pivot on a dime at times. As soon as you see that something isn't working, sitting around and being patient and waiting for something to work has not usually been a successful business maneuver. From all these interviews that I've done, a lot of people have said things didn't just change overnight. It required a lot of anticipation and building that momentum manually. So my question is, how do you help on that side of things? How are you able to help these brands, whether it's on the media side with PressX or whether it's kind of on this ranking side with AZ Rank? How are you able to help them pivot and adapt very quickly when they're kind of not seeing the success that they hope for?
Again, everything is pretty custom. In terms of the ranking, we look at the current scenario from that moment in time and make a decision whether maybe Amazon doesn't see you relevant on specific keywords, and then we're going to try to make Amazon see you relevant, or maybe, try to switch to change the keywords. So then you get a different set of eyeballs on your product. And then afterwards, we're going to get back to these keywords and try to make those work as well. That would be one general solution, let's say. Or we can be more specific and we can make changes. We can suggest the sellers make changes to this listing, to the listing in certain ways, or do stuff with your PPC campaigns that also are impactful on the way Amazon sees that listing. So there are a bunch of things that can be done according to the specific situation. But as you very well mentioned, you have to pivot on a dime. It has to be like in a matter of days, not in a matter of weeks. This needs to happen. And the same with the press. I mean, the press, since you don't pay, nothing that doesn't happen with the article. So what can happen with the press is that, for example, you get featured in a publication. I mean, the article goes live, but it doesn't get that many clicks. Well, in that situation, you still get the article and you just pay for the clicks that you get. 5, 10, 50, 5,000, depends on how not so many clicks, on what not so many clicks means. But usually that's how we do it. And after a small period of time, we're just talking to the brand and saying, what do you want to do next? Let's do a different article, or let's try to push this one again if possible, not always possible, stuff like that. It's like marketing strategies adapted to our point of Amazon things.
Absolutely. No, I think that's extremely valuable. And there are so many different outs and so many different tools at our disposal that it's hard to kind of pick which one is which. And that's kind of what I think your forte is like, you have all these tools and you're able to look at someone and say, all right, maybe we should do this. So before we wrap up, Alina, I always ask our guests the same last question about how e-commerce professionals work in an extremely stress-induced environment. I'm curious what kind of hobbies and interests you have outside of e-commerce and e-commerce work to mitigate that stress and establish a healthy work-life harmony.
That's the biggest challenge, I think, in today's world. And I would very much like to, I try to work on that as much as possible, to have that balance, because there were moments, and there still are, sometimes moments that you lose that balance and you forget about your kids and your family and your hobbies and the fact that you are actually a human being, not a robot on your computer. Yeah, so I like to spend time with my kids every chance I get, go do whatever. I have two kids, a boy and a girl. I like to work in my garden, which is very small, but I'm very proud of it. And I clear my mind while doing that. It's not like a podium or something. I don't know which one is more important. I think they're all at the same time. Traveling is what relaxes me. It's not the travel itself, because of the flights and everything. It's so tiring. And I hate that feeling of being physically tired. But mentally, when I know that I'm going to travel to here and there and see that and do that, and even if it's for work or for pleasure, same thing, that's what mentally, revives me. And something that I do, and I find it very, very challenging. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some other people will try it too. Every time I get back, so on my way back from somewhere, even if it's a vacation with my family or a conference for Amazon or something, but every single time I get back, I am planning my next trip or one of my next trips. So I'm always looking, okay, so I'm going to go there. Which hotel am I going to look for? Or maybe next month I'm going to run away with my best friend to do a weekend something. So on the way back, always look forward to the next one and start planning the next one. And that's something that, always keeps me moving.
I'm with you there. I absolutely love traveling. I love doing it alone, almost especially, if I'm honest, because I'm kind of just in my own little world, just like got my bag, get on pre-check, get on the plane, and I'm off. I think there's something really meditative about that process. So I understand that. Alina, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, and good luck with your fountain of companies.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to be here, and hope to catch up with you soon.
I'd like to thank my guest Alina Vlaic for joining me on the show, and come back on Thursday when I talk with Julia Nestoritz, the CEO and co-founder of Jet Octopus, a SaaS-based crawler and log file analyzer. For more information about Alina, you can connect with her on LinkedIn. To learn more about AZ Rank, you can check out their website, azrank.com, or follow them on Instagram at azrank_com. To learn more about PressX, you can visit their website, pressxlive.com. That's our show. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you come back to find new episodes being published every Tuesday and Thursday. Until next time.